My beloved child, if you are hearing my voice now, it means the storm has already reached the sacred temple within you. Not a storm of wind and rain, but one rising from the inner sanctuary, the very place where I was once enthroned. The pillars you thought were unshakable have begun to tremble. The stones you once believed immovable are cracking slightly, and the dome of your soul echoes with the low rumble of trial. Do not panic, my beloved. Do not fear when the temple shakes. For I, the Lord your God, am standing in the holy place. I have not left the temple, I am consecrating it. This storm does not come to destroy, but to reveal the true foundation. It does not come to ruin, but to cleanse away the false. It comes to awaken the temple you forgot, to blow away the thick dust that covered the altar, to rekindle the flame that had dimmed. See this storm through the eyes of faith. The walls may crack, the roof may fall, but the temple lives if the altar still burns. Within the thunder's roar, I am calling you back to the center of the temple, the place where your soul meets mine, where peace cannot be stolen. And when you return, you will see among the fragments, I still stand, my robe covered in dust, but my eyes full of light. For I have never left your inner temple. I have only sounded the alarm so you would remember that this very temple, your heart, is where I dwell. My child, that temple is your heart. For so long, it has been covered with the dust of weariness, the moss of fear, and the cobwebs of doubt. You have built high walls, secure gates, and ceilings bright with beauty. Yet I see that deep within the altar has grown cold, not because you meant to, but because you have been too busy protecting. You have guarded happiness, reputation, safety, until those very things became walls that blocked my light. And so, I have allowed the storm not to bring the temple down, but to shake its foundation, so you may discern which stones are true and which are only painted. This storm, you cannot stop, because it was not sent from the world but from heaven. It was not designed to harm you, but to heal. It is not the enemy's doing, but the work of my loving hand, a hand that longs to see your temple restored to its sacred beauty. I know when the walls quake, you tremble. When the roof leaks, you weep. When the wind howls through the cracks, you feel hollow. But even then, I am standing in the main hall, lifting my hand, declaring, peace, be still. Remember, temples are not built in sunshine, but in wind. No temple becomes holy without trembling. Those who have never faced a storm cannot guard the altar's flame. I have seen many temples built with ritual, yet empty of breath. I do not seek grand temples of stone, I seek temples that tremble because they love. That is why I have allowed this storm to make fall all that cannot endure, so that only what belongs to me remains. You will see things you once thought were blessings will fade. People you once called close will leave. Plans you thought were solid will crumble. But my child, do not call that loss, call it purification. For my storm never comes late, and never comes without purpose. It only comes when the temple has gathered too much dust. When the flame on the altar has turned to smoke, I have not sent the storm to hurt you, but to remind you you do not live by the roof, but by the fire. When every sound fades, listen closely. You will hear my voice echo in the temple's core. It will not be loud, but it will carry weight. It says, do not fear. You see, the enemy does not fear the storm. He fears you standing in it. He fears that after everything, you will still worship. He fears that though the walls may crack, your song still rises. For every time you lift your head in the wind, you declare, this temple belongs to the Lord. Let the storm cleanse the altar. Wash away the lifeless idols you built. Let me blow off the dust of old ideals, the habits you once called faith but were truly fear of being left. Let me open the main doors again, where the first light will pierce through. You will see the dust swirl, the ashes fall, and then a thin, pure ray of light slipping through the cracked ceiling to rest upon the altar. That is the sign that I am still here. The temple is not dead, it is awakening. Look with eyes of faith, and you will see each brick is being laid anew by my hand, not by the old design, but a new blueprint. A temple not built on self-will, but on my word, not upheld by control, but by surrender, not illuminated by human light, but by inner glory. And when you partner with me, not resisting the storm, but working with me within it, you will understand your strength was never in the walls, but in the altar. You once thought keeping the house meant guarding the walls, but truly, keeping the house means keeping the fire, for walls may crack, roofs may fall, but if the fire remains, the temple lives. Keep the fire. My child, even if it is just a small spark, do not let it die. Breathe into it with prayer, with tears, with faithful breath. Every prayer in the storm is a torch. Every tear upon the altar is oil for the flame. And when you keep the fire, the storm cannot conquer the temple. It may topple the walls, but it can never extinguish the flame of faith. My child, I know you ask, how much longer until the storm ends? And I answer, until the temple is clean, when the last dust has settled, when the last falsehood is revealed, when your heart no longer trembles from loss but from love, then the storm will cease. For the purpose of the storm is not to frighten, but to purify. When the temple is restored, there is nothing left for the storm to hold. Then heaven will open, and light will flood in. Hear me, beloved one, this storm is not the end, it is the overture. I am forging you to turn what looked ruined into resurrection. In these ashes, I will rebuild a temple of glory not by human strength, but by the breath of my spirit. You will look back and say, if not for that storm, I would not be who I am today. And when the final wind falls silent, you will see me still standing in the holy place. Within the temple you thought was lost, my robe covered in dust, but my eyes radiant. I will look at you, smile gently, and say, you have kept the fire. Now I will rekindle this temple, so that its light will shine upon many others. My child, when the storm roars outside the temple, I know your heart trembles within. You want to believe, but the wind howls too loud. You long for peace, yet the walls seem to shake. I do not blame you for being afraid. Fear is not the absence of faith. Fear is the voice calling you to run into my arms. Do not try to stand alone in the courtyard of the wind. Run into the holy place where my fire still burns. Step past the bronze gate. Walk through the darkened corridor, and you will see the gentle light shining from the altar. That is my flame, the fire that has never gone out through all seasons of storm. It is the very light I placed within you before the foundations of the world. Sit down, child. Let me kneel beside you as a father does, placing my hand upon your shoulder so you may know you are not alone. In every tempest that shakes the earth, I remain the fortress that stands secure, the rock of salvation. As the ancient psalm declares, when you are weary, lean on me. When you do not understand, weep. Not every question needs an answer. Some only need to be held. I hold you not to speak, but to listen. For sometimes, what you need is not explanation, but the presence of your Father. Remember this once. My son Jesus slept in the boat while the storm raged. Waves crashed. Winds howled. The disciples panicked. Yet he remained still. They woke him crying, "Teacher, we are perishing," and he rose and spoke, "Peace, be still," and the sea obeyed. Do you see, peace does not come when the storm stops. Peace comes when I am present. When I dwell in the temple, no storm can claim it. When I reign in your heart, fear cannot rule. True peace is not found in calm circumstances, but in my position within you. My child, the temple of your soul is not a cold place. It is filled with my breath. Even when the winds outside strike against the cliffs, remember the altar still burns. Do not quench the flame with tears of fear. Feed it with prayers of trust. Each time you whisper, "Father, I believe," I pour fresh oil into your lamp. Each time you choose gratitude instead of complaint, I raise another pillar in your temple. For I rebuild not with stone, but with thanksgiving. If at times you feel the light fading, open the scriptures. Let my word be the torch that guides your steps. Just as Psalm 119 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet, a light to my path." Those words are not only to be read, but to be lived. Read until your heart grows warm again. Sit until your soul finds rest. For when you are still, I speak. When you are silent, I draw near. The storm will pass. But before it does, I want you to know no wind blows without my permission. No drop of rain falls without my measure. Even when the dome of your temple trembles, my hands still hold the pillars. You think everything is collapsing, but I am preparing to reveal something new. For sometimes I must let the old temple quake so its worn foundation may break, and I can lay a new cornerstone. That stone, the one born of your faith, refined in the storm, is what will hold everything that comes next. I see you bowing your head in tears, and I am not far. Every tear that falls upon the temple floor, I count once. In Psalm 56, my servant wrote, "You have kept count of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle." Do you see, even your tears are preserved. Nothing you lose escapes my remembrance. Even the faintest sob reaches me like thunder. Do not think faith means never trembling. Faith is lighting your lamp while the wind howls. Faith is singing while the roof creaks. Faith is whispering, "Father, I trust you," even when your heart cannot yet see. Each of those words becomes a golden brick in your foundation. Each act of quiet faithfulness becomes another candle upon your altar. And when the dawn breaks, you will behold your sacred temple cleaner, brighter, and stronger than ever before. Do you know? I love your prayers in the storm more than any hymn sung in calm, for that is true worship, unrehearsed, unpolished, raw from the depths. It rises like incense through the wind. It bends the heads of angels to listen, and it moves my heart. So do not fear when your voice trembles. A whisper of faith is stronger than the shouts of fear. Remember, you are not fighting alone. When you stand in the temple and raise your hands in prayer, the armies of heaven surround you. As Elisha said to his servant, "Do not be afraid, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." I say the same to you. Your eyes may not see, but I see the host of light standing guard over the dome of your temple. No power of darkness can pierce the walls of grace. No enemy can shake the foundation laid by the blood of the Lamb. Now, take a deep breath. Feel it, that is my breath within you. Feel its warmth spreading through your chest, pushing away each layer of anxiety. You do not need to force faith, you only need to abide. For true faith is not straining to hold on, it is resting in my hands, like a child asleep in his father's arms while rain falls on the roof. He does not need to understand the storm, He only needs to know the Father is near. You, my temple, need not fear. Though the winds strike and thunder roars, I still dwell in the Holy of Holies within your soul. No sound is loud enough to drown the word of peace I speak. Keep the flame. Keep the light. Let the storm become the song of your refinement. For when the winds subside, you will see the temple has not fallen. It has been cleansed. And upon the altar, the fire still burns, not the fire of fear, but the fire of love. My child, the storm outside is not your enemy. The true enemy lies within fear, doubt, and compromise. Your temple is not merely a place of prayer, it is the battlefield of your soul. There, every thought is an arrow, every word a sword, every choice a strike. I did not build you to hide in the temple, but to fight within it. For the true battle does not take place in the world, but in the spirit between the voice of darkness and the whisper of light. You are not weak. You are not abandoned. You are called to be my warrior. Do not think a warrior is only one who shouts with a sword in hand. A true warrior is one who knows how to kneel, for the one who kneels in the right place will stand firm anywhere. When you kneel in the holy sanctuary, when your head bows beneath my glory, that is when you stand tallest on the battlefield. Darkness trembles when you surrender, for it knows that the one who truly yields becomes the one who carries authority. My child, look around your battlefield. Not everyone is your enemy. Sometimes what you are fighting is not a person, but an unseen power trying to occupy your temple. As it is written in Ephesians, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, authorities, and the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So do not fight people, fight the darkness. Do not curse the one who wounds you, kneel and pray for their soul. For in my kingdom, love is the sharpest sword, and forgiveness is the strike that makes hell tremble. When you step onto the battlefield of your heart, I want you to wear armor not of steel, but of the Spirit. Gird your waist with truth, so your words do not slip into deceit. Wear righteousness as your breastplate, so your heart is not pierced by bitterness. Take up faith as your shield, to extinguish every flaming arrow of doubt. Put on salvation as your helmet, to remind your mind whose you are. And above all, take up the sword of the Spirit, which is my word. When you speak my word, darkness does not hear you, it hears me. Do not wait for the storm to end before you fight. My child, the storm is your moment to fight. When the wind howls, proclaim my promises louder. When the walls of your temple shake, sing the anthem of victory. When the enemy whispers, you are weak, answer, I am weak, but he who is within me is stronger. Remember, my warrior does not fight with might, but with the knowing that they are loved. For only the truly loved have no fear of loss. Fear exists only in the hearts of those who have not yet believed they belong to me. On the battlefield of the soul, there will be days when you feel you are not advancing, but do not mistake that for defeat. Victory is not the absence of falling, it is the refusal to retreat. When you still keep your lamp burning, even as the smoke stings your eyes, you have won. When you still sing, even with a trembling voice, you have won. When you still love, even with a bleeding heart, you have won. And I tell you the truth, not one battle do you fight alone. Every time you pray, the armies of heaven move. Every time you choose to believe, thousands of dark dominions tremble. Let me train you as a soldier of light. You are not permitted to fight by emotion, but by word. Emotion is like the wave, the word is the rock. When emotion rises, remember what I have spoken, not what you see. When the enemy breathes lies into your mind saying, you will fall. Answer with my word, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. When it says, this storm will destroy you, proclaim, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. You do not need philosophy, you need the living word. For the word does not merely teach, it strikes. This battle is not for me to see your strength, but for you to see my power. I allow the storm so that you may discover the arsenal I have placed within you: faith, endurance, loyalty, and mercy. Each time you choose to stand firm, you forge a new weapon. When you choose forgiveness, you forge a shield. When you choose love, you forge a sword. When you choose stillness, you forge armor. No decision made in me is ever wasted. All are recorded in your heavenly armory. My child, I have trained many warriors through the ages, but in this generation, I am searching for those who fight with peace. The world knows how to fight with noise, but the kingdom conquers through stillness. The one who can remain calm within the storm is the one darkness cannot touch. Let your faith become a silence that carries authority. Do not rush to react. Respond in the Spirit. Do not shout. Speak softly in the holy breath. For it is not the loud voice that frightens the enemy, it is presence. When you carry me, you only need to stand, and darkness will retreat. Remember what I spoke to Joshua. Be strong and courageous, for I am with you. I say the same to you today. Be strong not because you are capable, but because I am. Be courageous not because you will win, but because I already have. You do not fight for victory, you fight from victory. I do not send you to test your luck, I send you to execute a decree already established. The foundation of your temple was laid upon the victory of Christ, so every battle now is but a remembrance. My child, stand tall, lift your head, grip your faith tightly. The flame upon the altar of your temple has now become a torch upon the battlefield. As you step out, that light will guide other warriors who have lost their way. They will see your flame and find their path home. Do not underestimate the fire you carry, it is heaven's signal. Hold it high, even when your hands tremble. For this storm has not come to extinguish the fire, but to make it burn brighter. My child, lift up your head. The storm has passed. The smoke has cleared. What once seemed to collapse now lies as ashes beneath your feet. Your sacred temple, the place that once echoed with the sound of the wind, soaked in tears and cries for rescue, now shines like the morning sun. There is no longer the sound of cracking, only the gentle breath of peace. No longer shadows, only light radiating from the altar of resurrection. I have done what I promised. I kept the flame through the storm, and now that flame has become the torch of victory. Look, beloved one, the walls that once trembled now stand firmer than ever, not because they are strong, but because the foundation has been rebuilt in faith. The pillars that once leaned now glow with my glory. The dome that once cracked now reflects the heavens like a great mirror upon the earth. And at the center, the altar where you once knelt in despair now burns with the living breath of my spirit. Your temple is no longer old, it has been reborn in fire. It stands as my testimony that no storm can destroy what is built by the hand of the Father. Listen, my child, the angels are sounding their trumpets not of warning, but of triumph. Waves of sound echo through the arches and reach the horizon, proclaiming victory has come, not a victory of strength, but of faith, not a victory of power, but of faithfulness. You have journeyed from trembling to steadfastness, from weakness to strength, from keeper of the flame to bearer of fire. Now you are a warrior of light, sent to rekindle the extinguished temples and awaken souls sleeping beneath ashes. Step out of the sanctuary. My child, do not remain in safety. Bring this flame into the open, that it may meet the wind. For light finds its purpose only when it shines. The world awaits your breath. It needs a warrior who does not fight with anger, but with love, who conquers not with shouting, but with stillness, who reigns not by control, but by grace. I have not called you to rise higher, but to go deeper, so deep that when you speak, darkness recoils. When you pray, the very atmosphere shifts. When you touch, others are healed. I have seen you when you fell, when you trembled, when you whispered, I am not enough. And in that very moment, I smiled, for I knew that the one who recognizes their weakness is the one I can make strong. Now I declare, the one who once trembled shall roar. The one who once retreated shall become the arrowhead. The one who once sought safety shall become the conqueror. For in the fire, you were forged. In the wind, you were shaped. In the silence, you were defined. There is no part of you untested, and no part of you untouched by my hand. Remember, this glory does not come from effort, but from the blood of the Lamb. That very blood has written across the walls of your temple the words redeemed. That blood has sanctified every brick, every prayer, every tear you ever cried. And because of that, you now stand not only as one who is saved, but as one who is sent. Wear the crown of sacred responsibility, and lift your head from old shame. You are no longer the one who fears the dark. You are the one the dark fears. Look around the battlefield, the path I have led you through. Every stain of mud, every scar, every wound has become a medal of honor. Each tear that once fell has turned to a jewel in my hand. I have taken your pain and forged from it a new sword, the sword of mercy. When you raise it, it does not cut to wound, but to set free. It does not divide, but opens the way. You have learned to fight with love, and that is the greatest weapon heaven ever placed upon the earth. Listen to my voice within you, O warrior of light. You are no longer a defender, you are a pioneer. I am sending you into barren lands not to fight, but to sow. Sow faith where fear grows. Sow words of life where mockery rings. Sow peace where violence reigns. And every seed you sow will ignite another torch. The whole earth will be lit, one soul at a time. Now I place upon your shoulders the mantle of spiritual authority. It is not a cloak of dominance, but of divine responsibility. Wear it with humility, but do not fear its weight, for I bear it with you. Walk in majesty, yet never stray from grace, for true majesty is never apart from gentleness. I do not send you as a king, but as a carrier of breath. When you arrive, I arrive. When you speak, I resound. When you love, I act. And now, I pronounce over you the blessing of triumph. Blessed is the temple that stood firm through the storm. Blessed is the flame that did not fade in the night. Blessed are the hands that rose even while trembling. Blessed is the heart that kept believing even when broken. For I, the Lord your God, was in it all. From this day, you are no longer one striving to believe, you are one sent to teach others faith. You are no longer one trying to love, you are one who carries love. You are no longer one waiting for a miracle, you are the miracle. For your very presence is proof that heaven still dwells among men, that light still triumphs, that the storm was never the end but only a passage. Go forth, chosen child. Let your feet touch the ground as the proclamation of heaven. Let each step echo the victory cry. This temple has been restored. This fire has been rekindled. This warrior has been commissioned. And as you go, the darkness will know this is the one who walked through storms and did not fall, who passed through night and did not fade, who entered the fire and was not consumed, because I was with them. And I speak now, as the final word over every trial, my child. Go in peace, carry the fire, and do not fear, for I, the one who dwells within your holy temple, will be with you until the very end. My child, the storm has passed, but the breath of its winds still lingers within the cracks of the temple walls. Dust still falls softly. Light has just returned, and the fragrance of incense rises gently from the altar, drifting through the air like the earth's thanksgiving ascending to heaven. I see you sitting there, exhausted yet alive, fragile yet radiant, and I say to you, you have come through. You have walked through what once seemed impossible. And now you stand upon new ground, ground laid by the very faith you forged in the storm. Breathe deeply now. My child, the air is clearer, carrying the scent of victory. The storm did not only wash the temple, it cleansed your soul. It swept away the layers of pretense, the veils of fear, and revealed the truest part of you, the part long buried under worry and striving. I have not come to restore you to who you were. I have come to recreate you anew. For what belongs to heaven never returns as it was. It always passes through death to enter life. Just as a seed must break to sprout, the temple must tremble to shine. Do not mourn the shape you once had. Do not search for the self that existed before the storm. For within the tempest, a new you was born, deeper, truer, and closer to me. I look at you and I see a warrior learning again how to be a worshiper. After days of battle, you must now learn stillness. After hours of prayer through tears, you must now learn gratitude and peace. For every season has its rhythm. The storm was for refining. This is for restoration. Do not run before the wounds have closed. Sit a while, and let me bind you with my light. Let the empty spaces within your soul be filled with real peace, not the silence of absence, but the stillness of presence. Do you see it in the heart of the temple? The lamp now burns steadily. Its flame no longer flickers with panic, but glows calm, steady, and deep. That is the symbol of your spirit now, not burning to prove, but glowing to guide. And that light will keep your temple warm through the long night ahead. For I do not want you to live by storms, but by breath, not to flare in crisis, but to shine through the ordinary. Now look around you. What fell has been rebuilt, not by human hands, but by mine. Every stone has been washed in your tears. Every pillar raised by the prayers you spoke when you thought you were collapsing. You believed those words vanished into the air, but no, they reached me. Every syllable, I used them as cement to fill every crack. For no prayer in the storm is wasted. Each one becomes a brick on the foundation of new faith. Do you remember when I said, "This temple will be raised again in 3 days"? They did not understand then. But I was speaking of myself, and now I am doing that in you. You are the resurrected temple. You are the place where life conquers death. You are the proof that light never truly goes out. Even when the roof collapsed, the flame lived on. For I am that flame, and I live in you. Walk the corridors of your temple and see the walls are cleansed, the candles relit, every forgotten corner now alive again. The vine I planted at your gate is budding once more. The white doves have returned, resting upon the dome, singing. The space once filled with thunder now echoes with song. Everything is proclaiming one truth: this temple has been restored. But restoration is not merely repair, it is renewal. I am changing the lifeblood of your soul, making the flow within you lighter, purer. No longer the poison of bitterness, no longer the smoke of resentment, only the fragrance of forgiveness and grace. Forgiveness not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. You cannot carry light while clinging to darkness. Let go. My child, forgiving does not mean forgetting, it means handing the old to me. When you release, I hold. When you hold, I cannot touch. I know there are people, memories, and moments you still grip, believing that letting go means losing strength. But no release is the mightiest act of a spiritual warrior. For true warriors do not fight to possess, they fight to be free. You have fought enough. Now, let me fight for you. Let me walk into the dim corners of your temple, the places you fear to look back upon. I will not blame, I will not judge. I will simply bring light. And where light enters, darkness departs. My child, learn to live slowly. After the storm, do not rush into plans. Allow yourself to be healed. Learn to hear my voice in the rhythm of your daily life. When you pour your tea, I am there. When you step across the threshold, I walk beside you. When you work, I stand near. Not everything sacred happens in a church. Sometimes it dwells in the breath between two sighs. When you become aware that I am present in every detail, your temple no longer has one holy chamber. Your whole life becomes a temple. And see now, beyond the storm, the sun is rising. Light streams through the temple window, reflecting upon the wall, scattering into 1,000 glimmers. Know this, that light is not only illuminating the temple, it is spreading into the world. Your temple was not built merely to dwell in, but to shine through. When you stand, the light will flow through your eyes, your words, your actions. Others will look at you and feel peace without knowing why, because they will see my light. And when they ask, where does this light come from? You will only need to smile. For in that moment, you will be doing the work of one who carries the flame. I am lifting you, my child, from the posture of a survivor to the position of one who is sent. No longer one who is merely kept, but one who is commissioned. You no longer live simply to be safe. You live to bring peace. The temple cannot stay closed forever. The doors must open, so that the people may come and souls may be healed. The storm has cleansed the sanctuary. Now I want you to open the gates. Let your breath, your voice, and your smile become the fragrance of my incense spreading through the air. And I say to you, not with thunder, but with tenderness, you are ready. Not ready to be perfect, but to be real. Not ready to be strong, but to love. Not ready to do, but to be a living temple. A warrior of breath, a light in a dark city, a gentle wind after the storm. You have lived, endured, believed, and kept the flame. Now it is time to shine. But before you go, stand once more in the holy hall. Lay your hand upon the altar. Feel my warmth flowing through the stone, through your fingers, into your heart. Know that I am in every breath, every glance, every step you will take. There is no longer distance between heaven and the temple. Only one truth remains: I am in you. Now, my child, it is time to leave the temple, not to depart, but to live. For the holy temple does not exist only where you kneel, but everywhere you walk. I do not want you to remain forever in the incense of safety. I want you to carry that fragrance into a withering world. The temple now glows, yet the earth still needs light. You have been healed, now the world must be healed. Everything I have done within you was never to keep you, but to send you. For if the temple hoards its own light, it will slowly fade. But when light is shared, it burns brighter. Go, but do not leave my breath. Let every step you take be an extension of the temple. When you walk through crowded streets, that place becomes a sacred corridor. When you speak to another with love, that moment becomes a prayer. When you sit beside a wounded soul and listen in silence, you are offering a sacrifice. For I do not seek rituals, I seek living breath. Every small thing done in me is holy, and everything called holy, if done apart from me, is empty. Learn to see the world through the eyes of one who has seen heaven. You will notice behind every dust and shadow lies an opening for light. No place is too defiled for my touch. No heart too lost for my redemption. As you walk through noisy streets, I want you to see them as I see Jerusalem, a city full of flaws, yet still the place I chose to dwell. Let your heart be full of mercy, not judgment. Let your eyes be lamps, not lashes. For this world does not lack critics, it lacks carriers of light. Remember, the temple is no longer a refuge from the world, but a source of strength for it. When you go, take with you the little lamp I placed in your heart. Let it shine first upon your own path, then upon those who walk beside you. When you work, work with a spirit of worship. When you face hardship, face it as one standing in the holy place. Do not separate me from the labor of your hands, for I am not only the God of your prayers, I am the God of every breath, every touch. There will be times you find yourself among those who do not believe, who do not love, who even oppose what you carry. But remember, light does not need to be welcomed, it only needs to shine. Do not fight for a place, create space. Do not demand the right to speak, live as the message itself. The world will gradually recognize that what they long for is the peace you already carry. They will ask you, how can you stay calm in the storm? And you will answer, because I know who is in the boat. They will ask, how can you still believe when nothing is certain? And you will smile and say, because my Father does not change. They will see that faith is not a rigid shield, but a soft armor woven from grace. My child, the world will sometimes exhaust you because you do not flow with its current, but do not fear being different. The temple was never built to blend in, but to shine out. If you become identical to the world, your light dims, but if you remain pure, that very difference will save. People will look at you as one looks at a lamp in the night, first to find their way, then to find warmth. Let your warmth make them stay. Let your light lead them home. There will be moments when you do not know what you are doing, when you feel lost among 1,000 roads, and a whisper will creep into your mind saying, perhaps you have gone the wrong way. When that happens, pause. Close your eyes and return to the inner temple. Go back to the altar, where the fire still burns. Ask me not with words, but with silence. For I do not always answer with speech, I answer with peace. If you feel calm again, you are on the right path. If your heart is restless, do not press forward. Wait until I return in the stillness. My child, wherever you go, I want you to see with the eyes of the Spirit not what people are doing, but what they are thirsting for. Some thirst for money, but truly they thirst to feel their worth. Some crave fame, but truly they crave remembrance. Some chase power, but truly they crave love. Respond with what the world cannot give: presence. Do not merely say, I love you. Let them feel that love through the way you live. When you are genuine, they will see heaven. And my child, as you carry light into the earth, I want you to bring order as well. The world is chaotic because it has forgotten sacred order. But wherever you set foot, divine alignment will follow, not by law, but by spirit. When you live in me, everything around you adjusts itself. People will sense safety in the atmosphere you carry. That safety does not come from you, but from my spirit enveloping you. That is how I expand my kingdom, not by force, but by presence. Do not fear when darkness grows thicker. The deeper the night, the clearer the light. The more crowded the world, the greater your calling. I have not called you to escape the world, but to sanctify it. Holy does not mean distant, it means different. Be among them, but not of them. Work in the marketplace, but keep your heart in the temple. Speak amid noise, but listen in stillness. Love the unbelieving, but keep your eyes on me. And then you will see it is no longer you striving to hold the light. It is the light itself that is holding you. There will be evenings when you return, weary and empty, your mind dry and spirit spent. You will think, I have given all I have. There is nothing left to offer. But in that moment, I will place my hand upon your shoulder and whisper, this is when I pour again, for the one who gives the most is always the one filled the fastest. Your source does not run dry as long as you do not close. Let the river flow, the river of grace, of love, of peace. Each time you give, you do not lose, you expand. And that very space you feel within becomes the room where I can pour more. My beloved, this is a new journey, the journey of one who lives on earth but belongs to heaven. You will see that the sacred temple is no longer a fixed place, but a living presence. Wherever you stand, there is the temple. Wherever you open your heart, there is light. Wherever you love, there I am. Knowing sense, no ritual, only a sincere heart. The world is thirsty for that, and I am sending you to give them drink. Now, my child, as the light in your inner temple steadies, I want you to understand this is no longer just a personal flame, but one that can spread. A lamp kept within the walls is faith. A lamp carried into the world is mission. Every person you meet is a wick waiting to be lit. You do not need a grand stage to spark revival, only the courage to kindle those beside you. When you sit with your family, do not only speak of me, let them see me through how you listen. When you share a meal, let that table become a sacred altar where grace and love are exchanged through gentle words. When you cook, do not think it small. That act nourishes not only bodies but the spiritual atmosphere of your home. Every word you speak, every gesture you make, if done in me, becomes incense rising in the air. A home where someone tends the flame of my presence will soon become a living temple among the streets. When you work, do not think you are merely completing tasks. In your workplace where ambition rushes and logic drowns the heart, you are a candle hidden under a basket. I want you to shine not through slogans, but through conduct. When you remain honest while others cheat, the light spreads. When you stay calm amid pressure, the light spreads. When you refuse to speak ill of the absent, the light spreads. This is the spiritual movement I am birthing in the world, not through platforms, but through lives. There will be times when you sit in a cafe, music playing, people laughing, everyone lost in their screens. Look around, and you will see tired faces, distant eyes, closed hearts. If you simply breathe deeply and smile at one, I am present. For every smile you sow is a spark of fire. They may forget your face, but they will remember the peace they felt when you appeared. That is the mark of one who carries heaven's breath. No title, no banner, only truth. I know living among the world is not easy. In the morning, traffic jams and horns. At noon, endless work. In the evening, messages and noise crowd your mind. But even in the rush, I am there. When you take a breath in traffic and whisper, "Father, I'm here," I will reply, "So am I." When you wash the dishes, know that I stand beside you. When you are tired, just look up at the sky, even the narrow strip between the buildings, and remember that light is still mine. That is enough. Awareness of me is the flame that never dies. My child, spiritual revival does not begin with crowds, but with one soul that knows how to abide. One person living true among the noise can awaken 10 others. They will not understand why they feel different, but they will begin to long for peace, for faith, for life. That is how the flame spreads quietly, humbly, but unceasingly. From the temple within you, the light will flow through your eyes, your words, your way of facing pain. You may think, but I'm just an ordinary person. I tell you, that is exactly why I chose you. I do not need distant saints. I need the real ones. The ones who grow weary but still pray. The ones who are wounded but still love. The ones who feel alone but still bring peace. It is that truth that makes others believe I am real. The world does not need more arguments. It needs living proof. And you are that proof. Let me tell you something small that is great. Once I saw one of my children standing at a bus stop. He was tired, his hands full, his clothes wet from rain. In front of him stood an old man shivering from the cold. The young man quietly took off his coat and wrapped it around him. No one saw. No one filmed. No one praised. But at that very moment, heaven lit another lamp. Because every act of genuine love, no matter how small, shakes the foundation of eternity. I want you to live like that, quiet yet powerful, ordinary yet holy. In your work, some will hurt you, misunderstand you, or speak falsely about you, but do not let their words crack you. You are a temple of stone, not of clay. Stone does not fear the wind as long as it stands upon a firm foundation. Let me be that foundation. Do not strike back, stand firm. For stillness in the spirit is the victory of my warriors. When you stand, I fight. When you stay still, I act. When you forgive, I open the gate for blessing. You will see, as days pass, those around you begin to change. The quick-tempered grow gentle. The closed-hearted begin to smile. The hopeless begin to live again. They do not know it, but it is your temple that influences them. For the true temple does not preach, it simply exists. Like incense, it says nothing. Yet everyone who passes by can sense its fragrance. My child, there are nights when I see you sitting alone in your small room, a soft lamp above you, your heart still heavy. You wonder what you could ever do for such a vast world. But you do not know right there in that room. Every prayer you breathe becomes a wave of spirit reaching places you have never been. There are souls far away being touched because I use your words as a current of grace. Never think prayer is small. It is the map by which the hosts of heaven move. When you say, touch that person, angels go. When you say, heal that place, my spirit arrives. Keep your heart tender. My child, the world will grow harder, and that is why I will use the soft ones. I do not need the worldly wise. I need those soft enough to hear. When I speak, they bow. When I touch, they weep. When I send, they move. And you are one of them. Do not fear being misunderstood. Light that walks ahead is often mistaken for glare, but I will teach you how to shine gently so your light will not blind, but warm. Now, I am opening a new season, the season of moving temples. Each of my children is a flame, and every flame together becomes the dawn. Go, my child, and find others who carry fire. You do not need to gather them into halls or sanctuaries. Simply meet them in the markets, in cafes, in parks, in the hidden corners of social spaces. Recognize them by the Spirit when their eyes brighten at the mention of my name, when their hearts tremble at the sound of truth. Connect not through structure, but through prayer, for spiritual movements are not built by banners or brands, but by breath. I know there will be days when you feel old and weary. When the flame inside you seems to fade, do not try to rekindle it by your own strength. Return to the temple, kneel before the altar, and simply say, "Father, I'm tired. That is enough." At that very moment, I will breathe again, and the flame will rise, for the fire belongs to me, not to you. You do not need to sustain it, only to stay open for it to burn through you. Live as one who carries a secret, the secret of light. Let it seep into your voice, your eyes, your gestures, the way you listen, the way you work. Let others sense something in you they cannot explain. That is me. And when they ask, "Why are you always at peace?" smile. And without preaching, simply say, "Because my Father is in me." That one sentence will shake their souls. Remember, my child, this movement needs no force, no slogans, no power. It needs authenticity, and true ones never run out. They only need the courage to remain real. Live from the heart, not from the shell. Walk among people, but do not dissolve into them. Stand in the world, but keep heaven in your eyes. That is how a temple becomes a movement. And I declare to you, the light I have kindled in your temple will not stop there. It will travel through generations, across cities, through souls you have yet to meet. Every time you live truthfully, you teach someone how to believe. Every time you forgive, you teach someone how to live. Every time you love, you teach the world how to look toward heaven again. My child, now I speak, the season has come. The fields are golden, and the fragrance of ripe grain drifts in the wind. No longer the days of sowing in tears, but the season of harvest in songs. Every seed you have sown, every whispered prayer in the night, every unseen tear, every small act of love that no one praised has now sprouted in the spiritual soil of heaven. I, the Lord your God, have heard the cry of the earth, seen the calloused hands of your labor, and now I call swing the sickle of faith, for the harvest is ready. As it is written, those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. Psalm 1:2-6-5. That promise was not only for the fathers of old, it is for you. My child of this generation, you have sown in storms, tended in droughts, and believed when nothing could be seen. Now you will behold the fruit. But remember this, the spiritual harvest is not merely about reaping, it is about recognizing me. Everything you gather is not a reward, but the outcome of abiding in me. I am the Lord of the seasons, the wind of the fields, the water of the roots. Without me, no seed can live, but with me, no seed is lost. Every seed you planted in faith, even as small as a mustard seed, has pierced through the soil of doubt and risen into light. And now, all of heaven looks down upon your field, where every crack of dry ground has become a gateway of life. The soil has yielded its fruit, and the season is full. Open your eyes of faith. My child, look around your temple and see the fields glowing, not with the yellow of grain, but with the golden light of souls. Each person you have prayed for, forgiven, or loved without return, they are the sheaves in my field. Every act you have done with pure love, no matter how small, has become a seed rooted in my earth. And now, the holy wind is blowing through that field, making heaven itself tremble with song. Step out, my child, and reap. But do not reap with hands, reap with eyes. Do not strive to gather, simply receive. For my harvest is not a conquest, but an awakening. When you see me moving in another's life, you are harvesting, When you rejoice at another's healing, you are gathering. When gratitude fills your heart instead of comparison, your barn overflows. This season does not demand that you do much, it asks that you abide much. Abide in me. Abide in presence. I know there were long years when you thought you were sowing into barren soil. You asked, Father, is this ground dead? But I tell you truly, no ground is dead in the hands of the one who breathes life. Every seed of faith has its appointed time. Some sprout in spring, others in winter. Some rise in light, others bloom in darkness. But in their season, all will come forth. For I am the Lord of the seasons, the one who makes what was asleep live again. As it is written, those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. He who goes out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, bringing his sheaves with him. Psalm 126:6. You are that one. You went forth weeping, carrying the precious seeds, and now I call you home with singing. You do not return empty-handed. Your hands do not carry silver or gold, but souls' hearts that have been touched, lives awakened by the light you bore. That is the true treasure, one that does not rust, does not fade, and cannot be stolen. My child, I have not only granted you a harvest, I have given you the vision of a harvester. For those who cannot see the season will never gather. Look beyond fatigue, beyond limits, and you will see that I am at work. Look closely at the small things, a word of apology, a smile, an act of kindness. These are seeds sprouting all around you. When you see through the eyes of my Spirit, you will realize that this entire world is a sacred field waiting for the reapers. Remember, harvesting is not only gathering, it is guarding. Do not merely collect, protect. For the enemy dares not stop the season, but he will seek to steal the grain. He will sow weeds among wheat, pride among success, weariness among abundance. Guard your temple, for the temple is the storehouse. Keep your heart humble, for humility is the fence around your harvest. Keep thanksgiving, for gratitude is the rain that cools the field. Keep love, for love is the sickle that never rusts. Know this harvest is not only for you, but for your generation. I am awakening other children, temples once silent, souls once thought dry. I am breathing new breath into them, and they will stand with you in the great field. My warriors do not wear armor of iron, but robes of light. They do not carry swords, but songs. They do not go forth to conquer, but to rescue. And you shall lead them, not by command, but by presence, not by shouting, but by peace. I declare, the season has come, and the reaper no longer waits for the sower. Look, my child, time has been shortened, and I am pouring out my Spirit upon all flesh. The young will see visions, the old will dream dreams, and those once despised will prophesy. I will use the small to do the great, and you will see it with your own eyes. Now I place in your hands the sickle of grace. It is not a blade that cuts to wound, but one that breaks chains. You will walk into places where darkness binds souls in fear, and with a single word of love, the shackles will fall. You will meet hearts long closed, and with one look of kindness, their walls will crack. You will speak, and your words will fall like early rain, softening the hardened ground. That is how I send you to reap. And when the sun sets and the field glows with the gold of evening, I will call you home and say, well done, good and faithful servant. You will lay down your sickle, look around, and see that not one seed you sowed was in vain. Everything you once lost, I have turned into blessing. Every season you thought barren, I have made abundant, and you will understand, I myself am the season. So sing, for the joy of the harvester is the song of heaven. Praise for that song shakes the earth. Give thanks, for every word of gratitude becomes a seed for the next season. This harvest will not end, it will only open into another. For I, the Lord of seasons, never cease to work. As I promised Abraham, I will make you a blessing to many nations. So now I speak to you, you shall become a fountain of blessing for your generation. The waters within you will revive dry ground. Your words will open blind eyes. Your very presence will strengthen the weak. For I am in you, and when you go, it is I who go. Arise, my child. Your temple is no longer merely a refuge, it is a beacon. The walls gleam, the altar burns, and the dome of your soul has opened to receive my glory. The flame that once flickered in the night now blazes like dawn, touching the earth. All that you once wept for in loss has returned in new form, fuller, deeper, more radiant. The storm is no longer your enemy, but the witness of my faithfulness. The ashes are no longer symbols of mourning, but the foundation for new glory. Listen, my child, the heavens are singing, the chorus of those who walked through fire and were not burned, through water and did not drown, through night and did not fall. Their voices resound through the realms of heaven and echo into every temple of my chosen ones. Every soul that remained faithful through the flames is added to heaven's great choir. And in the midst of that song, I see you not bowed in fear, but lifted with the gaze of one who knows who they are in me. You are no longer the fugitive, you are the one sent. No longer the one begging to survive, you are the one who carries life. No longer the one pleading for peace, you are peace. For I, the one who taught you to stand in the storm, now crown you with victory. Upon your forehead I have inscribed 2 words, faithful, 1. Not faithful because you were strong, but because you did not give up. Remember, what I build never falls. Every storm was only a test to prove the foundation, and you have stood. You stood in thunder, in night, in tears, and still believed. Therefore, now I declare, arise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 6:01. Step out of the ashes, O temple resurrected. Clothe yourself in garments of glory, not of this world, but of the Spirit. Walk as one who knows they carry light. When you walk, darkness trembles. When you speak, the atmosphere shifts. When you touch, sickness flees. For you no longer carry your name, you carry mine. From this moment on, you are not only one who lives in grace, but one who multiplies it. My child, look around you. A stream of people is moving toward the light. They are weary souls, those who have stumbled along the road of life, who have lost themselves amid the ashes of their own ruins. I am sending you forth, not to judge, but to remind them that the temple can still be rebuilt. Tell them that no one has gone so far they cannot return. Tell them that ashes can bloom, that tears can become streams, that those who believed they had lost everything will become the seeds of the next harvest. You do not need power to bring impact, only presence, for your presence carries my breath. You do not need a loud voice, for I have placed thunder within your whisper. When you tell the brokenhearted, I understand, heaven itself answers through you. When you place your hand on the shoulder of the weary and say, I am here, it is I who embrace them. That is true power, the power of compassion. I do not call you to build a new temple, for the temple is sufficient. I call you to gather other temples. Go and seek those who believe they are unworthy, those who avoid me because they think I have forgotten them. Look at them through the eyes of grace, and the lamp within them will reignite. You do not need to teach them, only love them. For love is the greatest sermon I ever wrote, and you are the closing line of that message. Remember, in every journey there will always be nights, but now you have learned to see heaven in the dark. You have discovered that darkness holds no power to define the light. So when the next night comes, you will not fear. You will stand in your temple, light the lamp, and smile, because you now know light does not need to be loud, only true. I declare this generation shall be gathered in fire, not a fire of destruction, but a fire of refining. And you, my child, are the first spark of that flame. From your temple, the light will spread through families, through cities, through nations. One person will ignite another, like small embers leaping across a dry forest, not through banners or campaigns, but through hearts. And one day, the world will no longer ask, "Where is the light for you?" And those like you will have filled the earth with it. Faithful one, you once thought yourself small in a vast plan, but in Scripture, there is no small. Everyone who carries the flame is a part of the divine story. I chose you not because you are strong, but because you are tender, not because you know much, but because you listen, not because you are perfect, but because you are real. I do not seek the flawless to grant authority. I seek the authentic to grant breath. And now, I breathe upon you the breath of triumph. You will go and witness miracles in others that you once prayed for yourself. You will see those who once hurt you healed, and you will weep not from pain, but from understanding. You will see doors once closed swing open not just for you, but for many, because you have walked through fire. You now know how to teach others to live within it. You will no longer ask, "Father, when will I rest?" For you will come to understand that rest is not found in stopping, but in abiding. Every time you abide in me, you are resting even as you move. Every time you live rightly, you are worshiping even without words. Every time you love truly, you are singing even without music. This is the state of the triumphant one, the one whose every step becomes a song of heaven. Now I open my hands and bless you. Blessed is the temple that stood after the storm, for it will become a refuge for many. Blessed are the hands once scarred, for they will anoint others. Blessed is the voice that once trembled, for it will sing the song of victory. Blessed is the heart once broken, for it has become the gateway of light. And blessed is your soul, the soul that knows how to rest, how to trust, how to live. I speak, as I did in the beginning, let there be light, and that light goes forth from my mouth, enters your heart, and spreads wherever you go. None can extinguish it, for it does not belong to you, it belongs to me. Carry it without fear. Let others see heaven in your eyes, hear heaven in your voice. Feel heaven in the way you walk. Live as one who carries the dawn, O child of the morning. Now is your time to go. Go not to seek, but to give. Go not to prove, but to reveal. Go not to fight, but to love. For love is the final victory, and the one who knows how to love has already overcome. May the Word of God remind you always to live each day in faith and in His boundless love. Click follow and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the sacred and life-giving messages He desires to share with you. May God bless you richly. Amen.